Hey guys, this is Beck. It is the 6th of January 2024 and I'm out for a walk with my beloved girl. Where are you? So, I do wish to have a discussion, an open discussion, and I wish to cause your minds to expand and to wonder and to pray to Father for confirmation. Now, any of you that have prayed for confirmation, you know how it works. You just can't avoid it. You know when it's confirmed, it's confirmed. You can tick that off. I've been having confirmations and I want to run my confirmations over to you guys. However, I'm going to speak of them as if they're still theories, as not to pertain to upset anybody. So, let's say I am assuming, I am theorizing, all right? The 1,000-year millennial reign spoken of in the Bible, only in the Bible, only in the book of Revelation, only for a certain time. I'll just put it on the table. The way I read the book of Revelation, the way that the Son of God himself, the way the Son of God himself spoke about the book of Revelation. It was going to happen a very short time after his crucifixion and his ascension into heaven. And then he came back again. Christ himself, his own words, not mine. It's very important to read the Bible how it is delivered to us and not how all these other people interpret it. So we have to get out of our minds preconceived ideas, notions, doctrines that we have been taught and which may have even subconsciously formed in your minds without you even realizing it. Because sometimes we will reject an idea based on things we don't understand. So how can we reject something if we have absolutely no understanding of the subject? Okay. Let's go from here. Let's assume the millennial reign of Christ came, because it is very possible, more than possible, especially if the Son of God said it was going to be, in the lifetime of the saints he was speaking to, those apostles, he was speaking to, that they would be alive. Let's consider it came and went. So you will say, but it couldn't have, because Christ didn't reign for 1,000 years. Or did he? And they've covered every bit of it up they could, but they cannot cover it all up. And scriptures are still going to be, even though the book of Revelation's happened, scriptures are still going to be fulfilled, because there's nothing new under the sun, right? Excuse me if I'm talking funny. I've got a big ulcer on my side of my tongue. I might sound like a bit of a weirdo today. But that's just what you get. It is what it is. So, let's surmise, if you just stay on this track with me, this thought wave, okay? Let's surmise the Son of God did come back. There was no second resurrection like they're saying, where the grave split open and that, because the rest of the dead, it says, would not live again until the 1,000 years were over. Now, well, we could say, if it's happened, well, the 1,000 years will be over, but we don't know when, how long after the 1,000 years were over. Now, something very amazing has been brought to my attention, which is Fox's Book of Christian Martyrs. The Christian martyrs. If Jesus came and reigned, I believe the only people that would have actually been transfigured with him to heaven were the saints anyway, the ones who died in service to him from the time when we knew who he was in the flesh. Do you understand what I mean? So those men who followed him, they followed the Lamb wherever he went, they were resurrected with Christ as his saints. They went to the north, just saying, just keep, telling your story here. They went to the north, and they inhabit the north as we speak. They have never left. And they ruled from the north the kingdoms of the earth for 1,000 years. Then Satan was loosed. According to some ancient manuscripts and according to Fox's Book of Christian Martyrs, according to some Latin ancient manuscripts, in 1336, Satan was loosed. It is written in parchment saying that in the year that Satan was loosed, in the year of 1336, in the year that Satan was loosed. So it is very interesting. We just have to look at these things. Now, this is more than actually interesting because we're going back on stuff that you can research yourself. We're going back to things that are credible, not just he said, she said on the internet. I'm sorry about the wind. We have to expand our minds. It would be really good to know what time we do live in. A lot of people say it doesn't matter. A lot of people say shape of the earth doesn't matter. I don't care what time I'm living in. This, that and the other. That to me just screams ignorance. It does. Why wouldn't you want to know what time you're living in? This is all a big con. Now, we know the con of so many things, but imagine the biggest one of all would be that the Son of God did come back in 70 AD when he said he would. They hid all the pictures, the paintings that were painted. Then, when Satan was loosed after they went away, you see, they had to do that. Father and his son had to. They had to see if the world could do it without them for a chance again. So he said, well, Satan, okay, let's see if you can deceive them this time. But I guess we didn't all bank on him hiding everything and erasing so much that we couldn't even tell what day it was, what year it was, who we were, where we were. Are we on an egg floating in space or a turtle? Now, when you think about this, that makes it so important to question. So important to show the Father in heaven that you care where you came from. You care, that you want to know what he's done and how he's done it for you. It's really important to show that you're doing some work here, trying to figure it out. Now, we could go on about the north, the northern lights. I do not believe the northern lights have anything to do with I'm sorry. You know what I mean. Magnetism. It would, of course. I mean, you've got the physical side of it, but that's a spiritual light. It's coming from the north. It's from the throne. It's from his robe and the throne, the very throne of him himself. So, if we take that into consideration, and then we take into consideration if the Millennial Reign had happened, and they went to the north, and the very last big battle we've been told will be in the north. circle the camp of the saints, which must mean they're in a middle part. To be encircled means to be in the middle, to be surrounded. So the North Pole is anybody's first pick for that. It's a no-brainer. Why were there all the insane asylums, and why all the orphans? Because of the people who witnessed it and came to Christ. The people who witnessed it, like we would have if it was like it's supposed to happen in our day, okay, the book of Revelation, well, they witnessed it and they were very quickly rounded up after Satan was loosed. I don't believe before that, of course not, because the saints were ruling with Christ himself from the north. And so when Satan was loosed, they would have had to lock up those people who were left, which would have been the majority of mankind, hence the catacombs, hence making up fake wars to cover for death, even the civil war, this war, that war. What if they were all at the same time or around the same time within 100 years? What if they were all because of trying to kill the people who were saying, we have to, he's real. I mean, we saw him, and then the enemy took it all away. And the light at the end of the tunnel got very dim. Not this one, Jazz. It's got too much water. Got shoes on. We'll go through here. So, I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to get at here. Insane asylums, orphans, they took the children off the people to work them. So when Satan was released, the evil controllers had the full power to take over the good people. Now we know that good people usually won't resist, don't we? Yes, that's right. Turn the other cheek and all that. So if they were taught all that, a lot of them would have went down without a fight. And they took them and they killed them and they took the children and they made slaves out of the children and they started this new world that we now are living in. Now, there's going to be questions, there's going to be things that people say, but what about this and what about that? And, if this lines up biblically, we'll be able to answer those questions as we come to them. We will. Because he won't leave us threads hanging out. There's not going to be any loose ends when we all work out this. See, I'm only doing this for you guys to help me work it out too, I don't know. I'm kicking the can down the road a bit. And so I'm trying to tie up these loose ends because Father's not going to have any loose ends at the end of this. So it would account for the state of the world because honestly, if we think it's just Jesus here and nothing else, are we really going to want to be... I don't want to spend eternity in a broken down world. That's what I'm saying. Not that I am not saying anything but that. What I'm saying, if you look at the state of the world now, even our whole lives, guys, we don't want to be serving in a kingdom like this forever. If we're guaranteed to die, and when we die we come back and we inherit this earth, none of us is going to be trapped about that. And so I believe the Holy Spirit was left on this earth in the people, but I believe that Jesus left, his spirit left. But he is up there, and he's contactable. And the way that you call him is through prayer. It is. That's the way you call him. Well, I call it talking to him. I call it chatting with him, having a laugh with him, having a cry with him, doing it all. Just pick up the phone and call, because he is closer than we can believe. And see, they didn't want us to know how close he was in literal proximity, like in physical terms. The North Pole, not as far away as you think, people. So, you and I could get there in a plane, very accessible. But of course we're not allowed. And of course when we were young they showed us the explorers going to the North Pole and putting a flag in there. Of course they wanted people mind controlled to think, you think the camp of the saints could be up there when they've been there and they've put a flag there. Mate, they could have put a flag on the middle of an iceberg in friggin' China, and said that's the North Pole. Come on. So I can't even deal with those people anymore. They're just they just don't even want to, they won't spitball. What is this all about? We're supposed to be working it out. Or did they just expect to be given it all on a silver plate? We should have known it all stunk when we thought we had all our answers in one book that only had 66 books in it. More than half of it is missing. Okay, so, and the rest. Apparently, the Son of God did so many things while he was on that short time in his short ministry in 3 years that there weren't enough books to hold it. So, what are we missing out on? Everything. What have we got? Scraps. Why have we got scraps? But there has been rules put in place where we must have something left because we're in Satan's short time. That is the only reason I can think of logically as a human being. If I was to sit here and honestly say, we're in the 1,000-year millennial reign now, I'm not talking about it in future. I'm just not. It's just, to me, it's not there. That's over in my thinking. The future millennial reign does not exist in my thought pattern. I'm not saying don't do it for you guys. I'm just saying, I'm telling you where I'm at. So, it's either way, what are we left with? You think, well then, this is terrible. The 1,000 years has come. Well, who are we? We are nothing. Oh, no. It's just they closed the books on us. They hid the last bit of the story. But Father knew, and the only bit we needed to know was the war, the last great war. He knew that was all we would need to be told. And yes, the book of Revelation absolutely could play out again. There might be an Antichrist. Have you heard of John of Galatia? Well, John of Galatia was the Antichrist who was sitting in the temple when the temple was destroyed in 70 AD. No kidding. Nobody knows about this guy. It's been hidden. And I would love to do a video just on that. We'll see how I go. John of Galatia, yeah. Now, he was the Antichrist. Now, because there's nothing new under the sun, there is no way that anybody could say, well, because the book of Revelation's all happened, it won't happen again at all. Well, that would be incorrect, because Father still wanted us to have a timepiece. And without that book of Revelation, even though it's already been fulfilled in that way, that the second coming of Christ has happened, yes it has, in that way, it doesn't mean that the prophetic events spoken of can't occur again. So just remember that. It doesn't change anything. What it does change, the fact is that when he comes back this time, there's no secret rapture, there's no second chance, there's no, I'll get it right. And when he comes back the second time, because all the people disappear, I'll realise that I didn't have it right, I'll come back. When he comes back second time, I'll be ready. This is what they wanted you all to believe. That's the biggest lie from the pit. Because that way, you're not looking into your spiritual life at all. You're just living your physical life. And if you're living in the flesh, you're going to die to the flesh. If you're not living in the spirit at all, and showed that you wanted to learn all this, this is where it's all at. This is a spiritual, heavenly bank account. That's what it is. It's not a physical one. You can work your guts out, helping everybody all day long, break your back, bust your guts. That's not going to do it. It's not going to cut it. It is your spiritual bank account that needs to be full now. Because if the biggest trick the devil ever played was that this has happened, then he's got all those lukewarm Christians that are waiting for the rapture. Hallelujah, praise the Lord, he's coming. I can speak in tongues. I am saved. I pray for a car, I get it. You know where he's got all them, don't you? He's got them all there. In the world of the dead. This is really heavy, guys. This is not something we can muck around with. I am not saying this, that. This is concrete. I'm putting stuff out into the atmosphere for us to all look at. It takes our whole community here to work out what is going on with us. And that's the beauty of the kingdom of heaven. It's not one person. See, Satan's kingdom all goes back to one ruler. Christ's kingdom is the body. Yes, he is the head, but we all as individuals have such important jobs. But no one is more important than the other. And I love that, because I was always a team player. I love teamwork. Let's get this job done together. You know, nobody needs the accolades on their own. It's not about that. So, let's just surmise. We, then, who are we? Who would we be if what I've just said about everything, like, so these sale asylums, they would have been the people who rebelled against the controllers when Satan was released in 1336. And they would have rounded up the people who didn't go along with them. And believe it or not, even though people saw the Son of God, there would have been people that went along with them that they wouldn't have needed to lock up, of course, because they would have offered them things. Okay? So who are we? Oh my gosh, that guy looks like my son. Oh my gosh, he looks like my son from back there. Wow. Hello, Jake. Oh, that's crazy. Poor ganger. And from behind, oh my gosh, he looks like my son. He's a bit chunkier. Okay. Who are we? Let's get back to this. What would that make us? Where did we fit into all of this? What's our ancestry then? Well, that would mean, because you and I are not elite class, you know who we are? We are the children of the slaves that they took for the work. And the you know, come over here, we're going to cross the road, someone else is coming. We are the children of the boys and the girls from the orphan trains. And if you're not, and you can prove you're somebody else, it doesn't matter, because these orphan trains, they would have been happening, Jazzy, all the way from back when they had trains, which we know that they were all there for probably 1,000 years anyway, even the rail system. Come on, Jazz. Hi, Jazzy, no, Jazzy, stay with me. Good girl. Nope. Let's go. Come on. Good girl. So they could have been, you know, These orphans, what I'm saying, after 1336 could have been being shipped out from that point on. You've got to think that Satan, if he was released in the 1300s, that the controllers would have quickly taken over. They quickly would have rounded up those people who saw Christ. They would have burned them, killed them, buried them, flayed them, boiled them, all of it, and took the children for their workers, because they're not stupid. They know they needed people. So who would we be? We would be the children of the orphans, given new identities, given a genealogy, given a family tree. Yes, some people can go back on their family tree. I can, to my great-great-great-grandfather in Syria. I can do that. But that does not mean on my other side that my heritage was that. So what was going on in the Middle East was completely different to what was going on in the West. And so the people from the West, they're probably not me. I wasn't one of, maybe, my heritage is not from that. Not on my dad's side, my father's side anyway. But for people in the Western world, when you think about this, guys, it's very, very possible. What I'm saying, pieces are fitting together. And it's taken 5 years to fit this together. And it's wonderful because it's like the Father releases the information at the appropriate time. Now, how come nobody picked all this stuff up in Fox's Christian Martyrs? Why? Just overlooked it? The blinders were on? Just didn't see it? Just like we didn't see that everything we've been told is a lie? Absolutely. We think it's not possible that probably 99% of the Scarlets in Hollywood, even back from the 20s, guys, were men. Not possible. Why is it not possible? Because our brains couldn't see it back then. We couldn't conceive it back then. Even if we were probably told it back then, it wasn't time. And now it's all been opened. And I think it's time that we are mature enough to handle some of these truths that Father's been throwing at some of us. And some of us are getting this really hard. We're getting this really full on, this information, and getting the confirmation that we're in the right direction. We're not in some dark rabbit hole that we can't find our way out of. No. This is like, we just need answers. We deserve answers. And more than ever, we deserve answers knowing how much they've lied. If we didn't know how much they'd lied, we wouldn't even have the right to stand here and demand that they tell us the truth. We know they're not going to. Guess what? They don't have to tell us the truth. Father is that awesome that he is revealing it to his little ones. He's revealing it to the foolish things of the world, the ones who the world call scum, maybe, the ones the elite call ratbags of society. That's right. So who are we? I don't know if I'm right, but it does matter. It does matter who we are. And no matter what. I've got too much love in me to be part of Satan's clan. I know that. We all got anger. We all got bitterness. We all got this and that. But at the end of the day, you know what's in your heart that makes you tick. You know. I think people really do know if they're of the serpent seed or not. I think there comes a point in your life where you just go, I'm either a really bad bastard, or you go, I feel pretty good about myself. I mightn't have achieved much in life, but I feel okay. because my heart's in the right place. So I hope today that your heart's in the right place. I so do, because time is short, and if we're in the short season, we don't know how long that is. We don't have any reference to go by, and that in itself makes it exciting. Because I'm not looking for a secret rapture. I'm not looking for, I know they're probably going to pull something off with people disappearing, with ships come and taking them, because highly possible that they've got the technology. Absolutely. They'll say that's the rapture, and all the Christians will go, yay, one was taken and one was, left. They don't realise it's the ones that were left who are chosen. The ones who were taken, the Bible, the Apocryphas say over and over, the book of Enoch, that the wicked will be removed in the day. It says it over and over. And so what did Satan do? He's got Father's pure words and twisted every single one of them. Twisted every story that we ever knew has been inverted. Because think about it. If the millennial reign of Christ has already happened, that's a pretty big inversion, and they're teaching it's still coming. And that's what you got to think too, guys. If they're teaching it and preaching it, all the big preachers are teaching it and preaching it. Oh yeah, Jesus is coming again. And I always wondered, how can they say this with that Cheshire cat evil smirk, saying Jesus is coming again? The rapture, the rapture. You know why they can say it? Because it's already happened. They're inverting it. They're turning it on its head. And you think that would lead people to Christ. No. It's going to make them complacent. And they know this. They know, they've thought these schemes out. Satan was probably the one put it on the table anyway, of course. And so his minions know how to execute this perfectly and know how to make the people lose hope. Where is this coming that we were promised? Where is this coming we were promised? The mockers and the scoffers saying nothing's happening, whereas you and I in the spiritual world, if you're living in the spiritual realm, we can see everything is happening. Compared to when I started this channel, we've got no time. We had time. I didn't know we had 6 years back then, but I can tell you now, I know now, we've got 6 years left. 6 years left. And that's a big deal. I think that's, that kind of tells you that a short time's a short time. In saying that, like I said, we don't know. It could be, this could go on to 2030. We might be in it for a really rough ride. And if we are, well, we were warned. Hello. Good, how are you? Jazzy, come on. Gosh, he looks like my son. Oh. I better give my son a ring. So, I just wanted to put that on the table, guys. Look, I'm not pushy, I'm not shovey. I do just like to spitball and try and work this out. In saying that, I am very serious though, when I come to a conclusion that has been absolutely confirmed by the Holy Spirit. But there are some things, what I've said to you in there, that have been confirmed, and some things that haven't yet. So it's a mixed bag, and I didn't actually tell you point by point by point what was confirmed for me and what parts weren't yet. But I'm pretty sure you probably work it out. We need prayer warriors on this, because we need to know what time it is. We so do. And you can say, no, it doesn't really matter, you just stay in the Lord. Yes, of course you do, you stay with him, of course. We do need to know what time it is. We really do. Because we're very ignorant peoples. If we say it doesn't matter. It's just like if you say the shape of the earth, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Well, it does. Because we're being lied to about it on a scale that is phenomenal. So it matters. It matters to them. If it matters to them and it doesn't matter to you, whoa, I don't know. That's really ignorant stance to take on it. And it's the same as, oh, well, yeah, it doesn't really matter what time we're in because either way, Father's coming. Oh, absolutely, that's true. However, we might all need a good kick up the butt to get us moving because we've still got people to get over the line here. We've still got people that will listen to our videos and listen to the words we say and maybe just plant one little seed and that, you know, let Father water it and bang, they receive what we have because we know that this is different. We know that we are set apart. I couldn't do this without being set apart. This is not my own strength or my own drive that I do this with, and I believe my whole life's like that. I can feel God's life force in me every day. I can. And when you recognize that's what it is, it'll really change you and you can help the Father's life force along in you better, make it activated better. Because if we're going to sit around and do nothing, which I've done my fair share of that, we've all done it with all this study. A lot of us weren't able to do anything and that's why we found all this stuff. But there's time when we got to start getting up and moving and, you know, that could mean different things for different people. But as long as that you're moving along in some sort of way and you're not stagnated, and that even if that is just your daily reading of the word, even if it's just you getting more educated in yourself, that's fine. But it's time to get moving in whatever you've got to do. But you just ask him, pray about it. He will tell you the direction he wants you to go in. He's showing me things at a rapid pace, things I need to do and pick up. And we've just got to stay confident that no matter what happens, this is real. Keep the faith, keep the confidence. Nothing is going to change it. A circumstance on the outside may very well look like it's changed, but you can't change it. It may look like it's changed, you can't change it. It's like the sun is always shining behind those clouds, but the clouds come over and it's pouring rain and you think the sun is gone. And what happens when the wind blows the clouds away? The sun appears and shines again. I believe he's making a way out for every single thing we are going to encounter. If we stay under the shadow of his wings, we will be protected in every single way. He will provide a way out. But he's going to want to see what we're made of. And by gee, I know he has. I know he's been doing that to me. He's been doing it to many brothers and sisters I've spoken to personally. If you can't see a way out, what are you going to do? Lay in the corner and kick in your own blood? Say how depressed I am, this is terrible, I hate the world? No, you're going to pull yourself up and ask him to show you the door. That's it. Ask him to show you the door out of the trouble, the strife you may be facing. Whatever the problem. He will never give us more than we can handle in that way. Even in illness and sickness, it is sent to teach us something. Every single thing we're going to go through is sent to teach us. But sometimes people just don't get that. None of us did for a long time. We know that. But those who continually go through life and not see it as any sort of a lesson or as any sort of a training ground, that's hard for them, because to me then there would be no hope. What is at the end of all this then? What is this all for then? I'm just going to die and go back into the dirt from which I came. What, is that it? I live and die? That's it? There's no consciousness for me after that? No. No. We do not die. This is a test from the Most High. Whose side are you going to go on? This day, whom will you worship? Because you don't have a long list of candidates to choose from. You have two to choose from. One is here and soon to be revealed, and one is invisible, and he made you. And so, take your positions. We're going to be made to stick by this. We're going to be held to our words. Pray for strength, courage, and release of those things that are in your life that are holding you back. Pray for the release of those things in which you feel you cannot undo. And that's what he wants. He will give you the key for the chain around your ankle. You've been trying to rip it off all this time by yourself. Let him give you the key to unlock the padlock that's on your ankle. Because he has it. You don't. But if you don't ask him for it, he can't leave his holy place and give you the key. I hope you all have a good day wherever you are in the world. This is words of encouragement, never meant for fear. But take heed. There's a very serious situation on our hands. And we all know it. And that situation's called life. And we need to get it now. We need to get life now. All right, well, this is Beck. I love you very much. From me and Jazz Star. Me and Jazz Star. We are out.